I'm fascinated by, I go back to, and while wrestling in the grand scheme of your 42 years has been a big part.
I was just thinking, I don't mean to cut you off. I was just thinking this morning, I was my son's age, 10 years old, the first time I went to my dad took me, the first time I remember being at a, and I keep saying WWF because it was WWF then. I look at it as a different thing. From when I was a fan, it was WWF,
It was WWF,
you know? And so I was my son's age the first time I went to a show, you know, and I think the main event, it was right after Wrestlemania, you know? So, and I was thinking about that this morning. I was getting ready to come over here. I thought, that's pretty cool, you know, and I can remember being there, and I think it was, I know in the main event was Ricky Steamboat, Bob Orton, Paul Orndorff, and Don Morocco. It was a tag, and I can't remember who was on which side, but you know, and then the thing, I mean, what a great time to come in, and then, you know, a few years later, not a few years later, but probably, you know, 7 or 8 years later, sitting in a hotel room with Don Morocco in Connecticut on an indie show, so after a show, you know, and Superfly Snooker.
Talking shop with Ricky Steamboat.
Oh my God, riding down the road with Owen Hart.
Was Ricky your agent? Any time?
He wasn't, and people always say, when did you decide you wanted to be a wrestler? And I said WrestleMania 3 when I saw Steamboat Savage, you know, and I don't know if that was actually it, but I was obsessed. There was never baseball, football. I played, but it was always wrestling. You know, I could tell you guys' real names, where they lived, their birthday. I was obsessed, and there wasn't even an internet then.
Right.
My first WrestleMania was I was thrown into a tag team battle royal at the WrestleMania in Boston. I think it was 14. I'm not sure. It was probably after that. It might have been 16. But the WrestleMania in Boston, you know, so I was just thrown in as a body. But it was my first WrestleMania. But then there was like the Too Cool at the Peak days was me and Brian in China, you know, against Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, and Perry Saturn, you know. But then there's being tag team champions with Rikishi in Madison Square Garden at WrestleMania 20. Like, so I don't know. It's
thing, right? Because you've done so much, and it's that.
Yeah.
And it's always been that thing for the people who are true wrestling fans.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
When I remember that night, and I remember it because we ran a lot on the house shows back then, and your favorite move was stopping me right dead in my tracks. This big barrel chest, you stop me dead in my tracks. You start reaching in your pocket, and out came the gesture. And I was the first time I was floored, but I was floored because I wanted to fall down laughing, and then I was half pissed because I got, and the whole place erupts.
Well, I had the idea. We were in Bangor, Maine. That's where it was. I had the idea, and I didn't tell anybody about it, where I would stop and start looking all over the place, looking behind turnbuckles, go out, jump out, look up underneath the ring. You know, oh man, you know, the referee, where is it? Where, you know, and everybody. I can remember hearing it was so quiet. You could have heard a pin drop, and thinking, I was on the outside looking into the ring, and I can remember thinking, if this doesn't work, I'm dead.
Yeah.
You know, so and then when I come back up, you know, because I wear the baggy jeans with the pockets, I reach in and I go, oh, here it is, you know, and I reach into the pocket and pull out, you know, oh, I got it, you know, and flip you the bird, you know, and the place exploded, you know, and I still do it. I still do it now, and I won't tell the guy about it.
You won't tell him? No, well, you didn't. I wasn't smart. I wasn't smart to it.
It works better that way.
Yeah, because you're left looking. Yeah. And at the payoff is unbelievable. Yeah. My second favorite thing, the pocket, the second favorite thing, and you caught me.
It's the bouncy off. Was the
bouncy off the ropes. Yeah. The first night you did the bounce, and you hit the floor, and the police, and I went. Yeah. I'm looking back at the other three guys, going, "What the hell just happened?"
Yeah, I would do that every night.
And there's Matt, there's Baldo, everybody's laughing, and you know, but you got guys like Bob Holly and Billy Gunn and you and me and all these guys in it. Some guys are serious, some guys were these guys, and all of a sudden you just bust out laughing. But it was fun.
I go to the curtain. I pretend that I've had no TV exposure. Nobody knows who I am. I have to win those people over and show them that I'm the good guy. And I have to give them something to remember me when they walk out of the door at the end of the night, because they're coming for the first time. They're probably going to see 20 to 30 different wrestlers. They're going to see 2 or 3 referees. They're going to see a ring announcer, valets, managers. There's probably 40 people that they're going to, new characters that they're going to see. And you know, for the real estate, I use the wrestling thing to make myself stand out, you know, and it's not because, oh, this is who I am, but you have, you know, Bill Johnson and Dan Smith and Bobby Baba over here, and then you have Scott Garland, who used to be Scotty Too Hottie. Who are you going to remember? Actually, this Saturday we're doing an open house at their new office up the street, and you know, they have me advertise, you know, come meet Scotty Too Hottie, and you know, so use it, you know, and then, you know, you meet 10 to 50, whatever you meet, you know, they may not be looking for a house now or to sell their house now, but they're, hey, yeah, remember Scotty Too Hottie? Is it? Yeah. So
let's now bring in your focus. Let's bring in the kids. Yeah. Let's talk about your dad. Come on and sit down right next to him. We're gonna surround him so he can't get away. So I'm amazed at these two.
Crazy.
You know, we catch up when we see each other. We talk about the kids, and beautiful young lady, handsome young. So let's talk about your dad. We're gonna put him on the spot. He's not allowed to talk.
Okay.
So tell me what it's like living with Scotty Too Hottie. Not Dad. I want to know about Scotty Too Hottie.
Everything. I don't know. He cleans it and then it gets trashed again.
So he's messy?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know. This is the stuff. This is the dirt I'm looking for.
but I do clean.
When it gets messy again.
But then the next day it gets dirty again.
How cool is it that and we're sitting here and I get to catch up with your dad whenever I can, and we're always in this day and age of text messages and cell phones and everything. It's got to be kind of neat to go through the amusement parks, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But what do you think when people recognize your dad?
Like, not just as my dad, but I get to see also how other people see him, and so that's like,
It's kind of neat, right?
Yeah.
Your dad's like a big deal. I love seeing the three of you in the parks. And I talked to you a little bit earlier off camera, but I'm asking you again. Of the three of you, in the middle of the day, in any amusement park you go to, who's the biggest kid? Who's having the most fun?
Dad. It's the new Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and then at Universal, it's Rip Ride Rocket.
You will catch me sitting down next to either of those rides because I don't go on rides. I see pictures a lot, mostly of you lately when you go to some of these shows. How cool is that?
Really cool.
Because you weren't right. You weren't necessarily in the mix yet. Because how old are you?
10.
10. So you're on the tail end of Dad's big run, right? So you weren't in front of 17,000 people. How cool is it to be with your dad when he goes to a show? And is wrestling fun to you? Is it you know what I mean? Is it curious? Do you see the difference? Is your dad become Jekyll and Hyde?
It's different than just watching it instead of like him being on it, because like you don't really, you know when he's coming on, but like you don't know who's coming on when you just go there for fun.
Right.
So.
You got a pretty good impersonation of your dad, do you think? W-O-R-M.
Hey, that's trademark.
What?
Yeah. You just had to pay
Find
for
your
that.
own thing.
I've been on the receiving end of that many times, by the way. That's kind of cool. Huh?
Yeah, he has to get in the ring and do it on every show I'm on.
Is that I saw the one picture. That's
it's in his
awesome.
contract.
And now as you're becoming this beautiful young lady, are you a little braggadocious of your dad? Do you at school your friends know who he is?
Yeah, and it like a lot of people don't believe me, so I'm just like, look it up.
Yeah. And then you invite Dad to come to lunch, and when he
Oh yeah.
does that happen?
Oh yeah.
Does that happen to Scotty when you go into lunch?
Yeah, I go to have lunch with her every couple weeks. Probably.
I get it when I go to see Billy or something. It's
Yeah.
never the kids
Yeah.
because they're all young.
Yeah.
It's the lunch moms who go, when I was in third grade, I'm like, don't say that. No, you had to be older than third grade when you saw me.
I always wear the sleeveless shirt, you know, just so the boys see. Just so the boys see me. You know.
I've been talking to your dad about just life. And I'm gonna put a serious part for me is I have 3 beautiful children. You have 2 beautiful children. how important is it to you as a dad to teach them the life lessons that you've learned growing up?
Oh, absolutely. And I don't even know if it's teaching. It's just like leading by example for me, you know. And I tell them, you know, to relate it to what I've done. I tell them, don't do anything that you do for money. You know, I mean, we both know, you know, all those people who went through college, got some awesome job, they're, you know, from the outside looking in, they're living the dream. I did my passion, you know, and the money came. I never did it for the money. I never negotiated a contract. I always felt like as long as I'm doing what I love and doing it 100%, the money's going to be there, and it was, you know. So no matter what, whether it's wrestling or what it is, just do it find something you love. I told her that the other day, we were talking about it. What was it? Photography. She's talking about being a photographer. Do it. You know,
the rest follows.
You spend too much time at work to hate your job.
Yeah.
You know, so don't do it for the money.
There's a difference between your dad and Scotty Too Hottie, obviously. And how important is it to you that he's dad and not Scotty Too Hottie? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think it's important because when he's Scotty Too Hottie, he's always trying to play it cool, and he's always making jokes and like picking on other people in the ring and stuff. And he's just, I'm glad that he's not like that and that he cares.
Well, you guys are awesome. I appreciate you sitting down with me for a couple minutes and talking. And I will see you at Universal, and you come and sit next to the bench, because I'm not getting on any rides. So we couldn't ask for a more beautiful day. And we've talked about a lot of things, and I can never tell you how much I appreciate you and sitting down like this. So catch me up on Celebration, what you're doing here. Tell me about what you're doing now. Tell me about your office. Tell me about your day.
You know, I didn't want to go to work every day and be miserable.
Right.
And so I came in, you know, a mutual friend of ours hooked me up with these people at Dane and Dana Bradley at Better Homes and Garden, and I came in and I met with them and clicked immediately. You know, like, she's big into the marketing and using my past. I didn't want somebody to say, no, that's not who you are.
Right.
I didn't want that. But you know, a high school kid might think it's pretty cool to work out with.
Right.
You know, so I didn't want that. So now I'm working for Better Homes and Garden, right here in Celebration.
You know, and I'm giggling because
my office.
we talked your office in Better Homes and Gardens, and we spent so much time talking about the attitude era and traveling around the world.
Middle finger.
And the middle finger, and here you are with your office, and it's just awesome, man.
My goal, I got my license on April 2nd. So I gave myself to my birthday as my goal to sell my first home.
And
last night I got back the contract from the sellers.
Awesome.
So it looks like it's going to go by my birthday. So it's pretty cool, you know, to get that ball rolling. It's scary, you know, as you know, it's scary to start something new, and it's all new. And what you learn in real estate school is not the real world, of course. It's kind of like wrestling school,
right?
You know, so it's just it's learning. You know, it's learning to hit the ropes. It's day one, you know.
And you got to be open to it.
Yeah. And as long as you give 110%, 110% of the time. Yeah.
And sometimes, as you know, we don't hear the success stories.
Right.
We hear the stories. I wish I could do that again, and that's one of the reasons I want to sit with you today, and I appreciate it, because your story's not even close to being over, and it's just begun, and it's that side thing for you're still doing what you love, and now you found something else that you can fall in love with, but you're doing what you love. You're surrounded by great kids, great family. You got a support system. You are the support system, and to me, that's part of the experience. And I think it's just awesome to see what you're doing, and I'm just so happy for you.
It's a lot of fun to do this, man. Sometimes you don't. You kind of forget the stories, and you forget some of the stuff till you start talking about it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a lot of fun.
So if you had one piece of advice, and I say this because, as you know, I'm a coach at heart.
Yeah.
I've been doing it too long. But in life, They're off camera, they're not with us anymore. If there's one piece of advice you haven't shared yet with anyone who's watching this, or to your kids, from what you've gone through in life, what's the biggest thing you hope to pass on?
In November, you know, I'm doing 2 weekends in a row in England, but during the week I'm off. You know, so I'm going to take my daughter to France, and we're going to go to Paris for the week. And you know, I'll probably spend most of my money that I'm going to make on those shows doing that. But what an awesome experience! You know, I took Keegan to England. It was awesome to have him on the road. You know, and then we'd do the shows, and he'd be a part of it. And then we'd go back to the hotel room, and we'd go to the gas station next door, and we'd load up on candy. We'd go back to the hotel, and order a pizza. And, you know, we'd have candy just all over. You know, and you know, went to Stonehenge and Big Ben and all that stuff. And now, like I said, I'd spend a good chunk of money to do it, but you know, I don't know how much longer, you know, I'm going to be able to do this and do that
share
kind of thing,
that.
you know. So, most of my expenses are paid for, so it's just getting them there and just do it, you know, live. That's you know. And as far as wrestlers, this is my speech to wrestlers: keep a journal and take lots of pictures. Wrestling 200 days a year, plus personal appearances and phone interviews and all that stuff. You don't have time to stop and really appreciate it. And so keep a journal and take photos, because someday you're not going to remember.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
But it's going to be good stuff. You trust me?
Try? I want to have to try.
You don't want to be shocked?
Yes.
What if I told you I have no idea what I'm talking about right now? We're just taking funny film here. But I have a pretty good idea, right?
Stealing.
So you're up for all that stuff. So you're ready to electrocute a phone, be up to no good. Well, that's awesome. That's kind of what we're doing right here. This is a Build DeMott experience. This is why I'm here. I'm a people person. It can't look like that, right?